What would it take for a political party to get your vote?
I think that addressing a lot of the social inequities that we do face and actually taking action. So a lot of it is, yes, we're saying that we're going to do these things, we're saying we're going to make these changes, but actually seeing them come to fruition seems to not necessarily be happening very much. And that's just going to spend money, and that's okay. Like, we need to be spending more on green infrastructure and green industrialization, and hopefully decreasing our impact and our want for oil and fossil fuel usage and stuff.
Just to be sensible and take a middle ground, nothing really crazy, nothing. The Conservatives say crazy stuff out on the one side, the Liberals and NDP do crazy stuff on the other side to try to get votes. It's just stay in the middle, be reasonable, be sensible, and just be reasonable and be sensible and take a middle ground. Nothing too crazy.
If they're trying to be proactive about changing things, or if they've got good values, hopefully they can carry that out into their term. That'd be nice.
Oh, well, right now, they have to say they're going to get rid of the mandates and never bring them back, because that was ineffective and actually counterproductive. It actually hurt people.
You mean the COVID mandates?
The COVID mandates, that's right, yeah. Those were just plain wrong and bad policy. They didn't work.
We have to keep our country intact. We have to keep our social services programs intact. And we cannot let American-style politics seep through our country.
So, I mean, a government or a political party that will have environment concerns, that will have concerns for the people, for especially people who are struggling for an existence, because there are quite a lot of people that are in that position. There are quite a few people who enjoy a much higher standard of living than others, and frankly, they should, that level of person should be in a position to help the government as well, the government to start with, but a government that will advocate for rights for the people that are struggling would be the right thing to do.
I don't really know. I don't really know that any of the parties are that different.
Healthcare, reasonable managing of the pandemic, generally how we live day to day.
For me, I don't know. I feel like the younger generation is very strong on the green, living green, and affordability for school and for living. It feels like the cost for living has gone up for us, and like buying a house seems very out of reach. Doing anything on your own unless you're just working 24/7 doesn't make sense. I'm lucky enough to have parents who support me, but a lot of people don't, and they'd have to scrape together all of their funds just to get a decent education, get a job, and then to be broke the entire time anyways, because you can barely afford living. So I just want them to change how the system works, the education system, how expensive schooling is, and how you need a degree to get anything worthwhile, but yet you need to have so much money to get into a proper university.
We need the money spent on us. We're the ones that are giving them the money, and I think they have to start realizing it's not their money. Right? Spend it where it affects the citizens that live here. Right? The senior citizens on fixed incomes, and yet you're giving child tax benefit, which is tax-free. So somebody who has children, yes, they have a very difficult time, but so do the senior citizens. And their money is not tax-free. OAS and CPP is not tax-free. And I think things like that need to change. The balance of our seniors to our young people, right? That's a big part.
When I look at political parties when an election comes around, I usually just acknowledge the platforms. I'm less driven towards the personal opinions of the politicians themselves and who they are, and I'm more driven just towards the platforms. If I can look at a platform and see that it protects my values on a pretty simplified level, like let's say I'm really driven towards the environment, or dropping of gas prices, or more money towards, they were putting money towards people that were buying electric cars. So any politician that would be willing to put in place drops on electric car prices, man, I'd vote for him because that's something that I'm literally going to be investing in at the end of the summer. So just things that are affecting my life at the moment.
They have to care about the environment. That's number one for me. And we have to care about people, and we have to try and figure out how to fight the me culture that we have. Everybody's so selfish about their own needs and wants, and we have to have a political power that is willing to try and fight that.
Oh, I think related to your last question, I definitely think the environment where there's some of the parties don't want to talk about it. I think some of them do talk about it, but it's not sincere. So a longer-term vision, I think, is the problem that I see, that we're in this 4-year cycle, and any gains and changes to be made with respect to environment, it's going to take more than 4 years, and you're not going to see immediate benefits. So, yeah, I think a government that looks to the long term and has a plan and works proactively to it.